Hey, welcome to another broadcast. So glad that you guys can join us for week ending Friday, January the 12th, 2024. So glad that you guys can join us. Yeah. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. Another somewhat chilly day out here in the great state of Arizona, but it was still nice. I hope it was nice where you were. I know some people, you got some rain going on. Some others, you got some snow going on. And others, it's just cold. And but that's what's called winter. So I hope you're dressing appropriately and drinking your teas and, and just making sure. One of these days, I'm going to show y'all the pullover that I wear sometimes. Man, that thing gets so hot. I can't wear it but for so long because it's so hot. I got it at Costco, and it's like I look like a whole woolly bear out there. Well, you know what? Y'all did see it. I took a picture and I posted on my community page where I was laying in the backyard on one of our chairs, and yeah, that thing keeps you warm now. But I try to go to bed with it. It's too hot. That's how hot it is. I think I paid maybe $24, and it wasn't that expensive at all. But anyway, I hope you guys are staying warm and toasty and got yourself something nice to eat today, and got some fresh air and some sunlight and all of that great stuff. We got a great broadcast here. We're just gonna kind of take a glance at what's going on these internet streets, and just take a quick glance at it and try to get you in and out real quick here. All right, sorry, I don't have any plates and no food available. That's on you to provide the food and the drink, okay? So you sit back and relax, and we're gonna go ahead and get things started. So glad again that you guys can join us for this broadcast. Good to see everybody in the chat. People starting to come in. And for you other ghost people out there that ain't quite in the chat, you just kind of looking and, what's he going to talk about? Anyway, we'll find out. All right, let's go ahead and get things started. Again, thank you so much for joining us for this broadcast. I didn't even know what to call it. I just said news of the week. That's all I did. And we're going to touch on news, but, we always try to do it from a slightly more introspective kind of position, to look at it, because we can certainly talk about all the things that are going on and all of that. But how does it pertain to us? You know what I'm saying? You got groups of people that will spend all the time talking about this over here, one of the things that Black America seems like can't stop talking about are the comedians. And I'm sitting up here like, is that the only thing that's going on in the world today? And I actually took some issue with somebody not too long ago. And they were saying, when I say take issue, that's not in a negative context. Okay. Don't even think of it that way. I just like, I don't know if I agree with that. And that is, you got some people who are floating around that perhaps this is just some kind of psyop, to get Black folks distracted on what's really going on in the world. And then they pointed to, I guess some wars or something that's going on overseas or whatever. But I had to think about that for a second. I would say, quite honestly, when was the last time Black folks were that concerned about wars going on overseas? So, you know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't think it's a distraction from that. Is it a distraction? Yes, it is. Is it a psyop? Yes, it is. But is it a psyop that, the way we always paint it to be, that you got a group of people in the CIA or the MI6 or the, FBI or the Department of Homeland Security, or name the alphabet group? Is it just, do we think it's just a group of white people and black hats and dark suits, and they're sitting up here and they're saying, okay, how can we get these Black people distracted this week? And I think a lot of times we like to imagine that. And it's easy for us to pivot and to put blame on this imaginative thing that we've created to make it seem like, oh, it's the government that's really planning all this stuff and pulling these levers to get black folks talking about stuff and all that. And I really take issue with that, because I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't think this is really government. They could be part of it. It's kind of like this. It's like if you have a car, right? And you have a car that has all the tools in it to be a car, right? The only thing you didn't do is turn the car on, and it's on top of this hill. It's a very steep hill. And you have somebody, they tell you, okay, sit on the front, sit in the driver's seat, just sit down, sit in the driver's seat, make sure you buckle up. Do not turn the car on. The only thing we ask for you to do is to put the car in neutral. That's all we want you to do. And you just sit there, right? And the person that told you to sit down and just buckle up, they go to the back of the car, right? From the outside, of course, and they just push the car. Once they push the car, now the car is going downhill. Now, mind you now, you didn't turn the car on, right? You're just going downhill. Now, who's in control at that point? Is it the government? Is it the person that pushed the car in the first place? No. The person that is behind the wheel is the person that's in control at that point, because they have access to the steering wheel. They have access to the brakes. They have access to things that can cause that vehicle to safely pull over to the side and not continue this downward trend, right? Well, that's the same thing that we're seeing right now. I believe, yes, you do have some nefarious external out there groups that may be starting things. But as far as the continuation of this nonsense that we're seeing out here, oh no, baby, that's all us all day. So do we have control over these different narratives and stuff that are floating out here? Absolutely we do. And more often than not, we're the ones that are in control of them. It ain't the government. They're not whispering in your ear and telling you to click on things. You're doing that. They're not telling you to leave comments. You're doing that. You understand what I'm saying? And we've of course pointed out on this platform the many examples of individuals that look like us that are literally altering historic images so that they can change history, historic stories, and historic facts, so that another narrative can be pushed. A lot of times we like to, we talk about whitewashing. We've talked about that, right? But on this platform, and and there's others as well, we've been looking at blackwashing. Yes, that is a thing. And I have posted these many examples, and there are many, many more that I can post, of black individuals that are posting this stuff, changing historical narratives in order to push their own agenda. Now, like I said, we're all about the truth here. And, so I don't care if it's a white person doing it. I don't care if it's a black person. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me at the end of the day is truth. That's it. And anybody or anything that stands in the way of us getting to that, you're not my friend, which makes you what? My enemy. And we're going to call you out on that. And so and that is something that we're going to continue to do on this platform. So there's, so a lot of times we look at this stuff and we think that it's some kind of like, it's the government, secret government is doing some secret things, and they're behind all this stuff and all of that. Well, some of y'all, not you, I'm calling out the other people that aren't you. Some dummies out here will listen hours upon hours upon hours to individuals that you've never seen. Like I'm talking about like on here on YouTube, for example. There's channels on here, you never seen these people, but yet you be up there faithful, just listening to them. That's right. You do have a point right there, and literally constructing your opinions, your thoughts on things based off of people you haven't seen or will never show Well, why won't you show yourself? Well, why is that important? Because it is. It's about building trust, and that's what we try to do here. So anyway, like I said again at the top, I hope you guys had a wonderful week. And it's been a quite noisy place here online. I tell you, as of late, I was writing something. You maybe you caught it on the community page. I'll tell you how difficult it's been for me to even pull up and just do a video on anything. I've been focusing more on the shorts and all of that, which, by the way, I was learning, listening to people who are very good at putting together these shorts, YouTube shorts, right? But the same thing can be applicable to like TikTok or whatever, right? And I told you I have a background in marketing, but I use it where I need to use it. Like if it's for business, it's for business. You know what I'm saying? And but my mind is always there. And that's not my only background, but marketing is part of it. And the things I was saying, I think the trends I started seeing on the internet and social media and how marketing was being used, it caused me to kind of pump the brakes a lot, because I was like, man, this is a whole nother level of stuff that I just not really that comfortable with. Right. And what I'm talking about is how the more successful people, when it comes to marketing on social media, a lot of times is based off of just manipulation. You know what I mean? It's just all the way out manipulation. It's just, it's manipulation and the dumbing down part I don't like, and that's what's caused me to kind of like, I'll do marketing on stuff like with Samba Tree or whatever, but I haven't really, really, really poured everything that I have as far as marketing is concerned just with that. I just been doing a little bit here and there, but I'm starting to, slowly put more and more into it. Because this individual I was listening to, a young lady, what she said? She said, the key to, she was in this interview and she was talking about how, the guy asked her, well, how is it you're so successful with, doing your shorts? Because literally every short you do, it goes viral. And she said what she does, and she's like a nerd at this stuff, right? And so what she was saying is what she does is she looks at the ones that are successful, the shorts that are successful, and she scrapes them, the data off of them. What she means is she scrapes the what you call it, the transcript from them. Because there's a way that you can extract the transcript off of these videos that are posted on YouTube, and they give you the ability to do that. And then what she does then is that she takes that information and runs it through a tool that analyzes it based on reading level. And she said if you want your short to go viral, she said your transcript or the things that you say, it has to be at a 5th grade level or less. She said 5th grade level or less. You can't talk any higher than that, because if it's any higher than that, people will not pay attention to it. And then she referred to, it's this guy here, Mr. Beast. I don't know what's the story behind that name, but anyway, Mr. Beast, many of you at least have heard about this guy. She said, well, she analyzed his, and she said, every one is at a 1st grade level. And I don't know, I guess kindergarten will be beyond, it will be lower than that, right? But that's what she said. It has to be at 5th grade level. She said, I try to hit 4th grade level, but 5th grade level or less if you want your shorts to be successful, and you get the clicks and all that stuff. So this is the kind of stuff that I said that it's when it comes to marketing, internet-based marketing, it's really caused me to take some great pause, because that's not me. I'm going to, I understand the whole, the language that you want to use language that, that's catchy, I guess, that people will, everyone can relate to or whatever. I kind of sort of get that, but I also see what's behind that. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the dumbing down of a society. And, and so that's what's caused me to I'm like, so I said, so you're saying that people won't even click on it unless I'm talking at a fifth grade or less level? Man, that's pretty something. But she's got the numbers to prove it. The attention span of people these days. And she talked about that as well. It was one video in particular at a certain point. You can, because Google or YouTube gives you all the analytics and it shows you like at what point the people start dropping off. And all her shorts are very fast paced. So I'm like, how does someone drop off on hers? Because all her videos are fast paced. But it was just 1 second. She showed the example. It's literally 1 second in her short now, not a long form video, a short. There was 1 second in her video where it was like halfway through, it just immediately dropped. So what she did was she went back and she was able to edit out that 1 second that caused a lot of people to just tune out. And then she said her video went viral after that. And she was showing all the numbers, all the analysis. She was showing all of that. But this is the society. This is the world we live in now, where everything has to be super fast paced. You have to tell people what to think, what to believe. And you got to do it in 30 seconds or less. Otherwise, they won't pay attention to you. So that has really, I would say, out of all the many things, I guess, in the last year or two that I've been kind of processing and trying to figure out or whatever, on top of everything that we were doing, addressing last year, I think that too has been quite a heavy change that I'm still trying to not understand, but really trying to come to terms with. You know what I mean? That, wow, I can't, if I don't say it within 30 seconds, people just going to tune out. And I think the thing too that really gets me is it's not just the young people, it's older people too that are like that. It's like they just got to be, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You ain't supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? We're supposed to take our time in explaining things and all of that. But that's becoming a little more and more a thing of the past now. People don't have the time, nor do they want to spend the time. They just want you to tell them what to think and what to believe, what to act, how to act, I should say, and all of that. And it's just really something. So if you are one of those individuals like that, you will be sorely disappointed. Now, we do have a shorts, section on our page, and I can't, they give you only a minute, so I can't be, so it ain't that long at all, so we try to upload things on there when we can or whatever. But when it comes to the things that we try to address or deal with or, want to talk about here, I'm sorry, we're going to have to give you as many receipts as possible. And we're not in the business at all of telling you what to think and what to believe. You're not a robot. You're not something that, I just tell you this and then you do that or whatever. No, we encourage our people to think. We encourage our people to read. We encourage our people to investigate on your own. And most importantly, we encourage you not just to take my word for it, but for you to do your own investigation and then you come to your own conclusion. And that's how it should be across the board. But, it's not, that's really not the trend now because it's not trendy now. People just want to follow whatever the latest hashtag and stuff is. And I'm sorry, we just can't do that here, if you're going to be serious, So anyway, good to see everybody in the chat here that's coming on board and all of that. Really great to see you guys. Really quick here, let me go ahead and pull up Sabbatree, because Sabbatree, we just had that very, very huge sale, but we're still around, right? We're still doing things and we're still getting orders out, which, by the way, let me just a friendly reminder. And we've been saying this to people, but we'll say it again. That was a large sale and we're getting orders out. We're pushing them out. We're pushing them out. We're not sleeping or anything like that. Every day things are going out. Push. Everything, every day things are going out. We have a section here, is a ship schedule section here. And so I want you to make sure whenever you place your order, we're not Amazon. Okay. This is the ship schedule right here. Please take the time to look that over. Okay. So it's nothing is a surprise. We put everything in front of you so that you can see and you can know what to expect. Okay. So the ship schedule, make sure you take a look at that. And also, if you have any questions regarding your order, or maybe there's something on the site that you would like to see or whatever, we have a contact us section. All right. Is individual in particular, one or two, that have been emailing us at our other email address that our dear sister Wanea hey sis put on the in the chat there. That is not the email address to send about, hey, where's my order or whatever. That's not the email address, because I'm telling you right now, it will not be answered there. Okay. We provide a whole section that you see right here on your screen, where if you have any questions at all, this is where you communicate. Okay. And that's it. It's very simple. And for the most part, you know, all the customers, all you guys have been great and fine and stuff. And you've been getting your stuff, and we've been getting messages of y'all telling us that or whatever. But, you know, but for some, it may be a 1 or 2 day delay in that, whatever. But they're all being, every day things are going out. Okay. So again, please, if you email me at any other address, it is not going to be answered. We have a individual that handles our emails and all of that. So I don't think I'm sitting up here and I got an email for Sabbatry on my phone and all that. I don't. We have a whole separate section that handles all of that. Okay. All right. So just wanted to let you know about that. But anyway, Sabbatry, very quickly, we provide nutrient rich products from the earth for health and healing, because our people deserve the very best. And that's something we're very committed to. I'll show you the ad in a moment here, but just to give you just bird's eye view again of all the great stuff that we have here, you can take a look at it. It's still very early in the year. And if you haven't, for some of you, this is the time of the year where you do like a detox or whatever. Well, consider us your detox center. We've been selling bitters and all of that stuff. This is a great time of the year for you to stock up on things such as your bitters and stuff that get your colon cleansed, that get your liver cleansed, that get your kidneys cleansed and all of that. And we got a whole bunch of stuff for that. And then, and then for the rest of you that may not be doing that, you just like, man, now listen, I'm just looking for some great seasonings that's natural, because some of these companies in the store, they've been hoodwinking me. They put a black face on it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's made by us and it's all natural because we looking out for each other, right? Right? Here comes the crickets. Because when you look on the back of it, it's got all kinds of stuff. Red dye number 6 and yellow dye number 5 and blue dye number 2, and it's got all that stuff in there. We don't do that. 100% natural herbs, 100% natural, the things that our creator put out there, period. We don't need to put any other stuff in there. All right. Did you hear about, they said Parmesan cheese. They said Parmesan cheese, depending on which one you get, they actually put wood shavings in it. And you really think these people care about you? See, we don't do that kind of foolishness. Anyway, so all kinds of stuff here. So yeah, the laundry detergent, we already came out with our own laundry detergent, 100% natural in that. We're going to have some other stuff along this line here of Miss Sylvia's that's going to be coming out very soon. So check that out as well. Sea moss gel. Let me show you that in case you didn't see that. Oh, man. Now, what we meant to show that, when Nicole and I did the live, the sea moss gel and me trying it out. But I ran out of time because the calls that we were getting in was so great. And but the sea moss gel, the one that we wanted to try with y'all was the dragon fruit one. Now, if you're a person that's like, I like sea moss gel, but it's just not, I like stuff with flavor in it. And I get you. I understand that, So when I tell you the ingredients on here, guess what it's sweetened with? No, it ain't cane sugar. It ain't all the other stuff. It's sweetened with agave. So it's agave, the sea moss, and the fruit. That's it. That's all that's in it. And that's how we roll. So anyway, let me show you this short we did just this week here. And then after that, we're going to roll right into what we're going to be talking about for this broadcast here. So here we go. This is the one about the sea moss. All right, let's go ahead and put that one on right quick here. Looking for a true 100% natural treat can be like searching the galaxies. Introducing our real fruit-infused sea moss gels only at SambaTree.com. Combined with the nutritional benefits of freshly harvested sea moss with the great taste of fresh fruit, your body is getting most of those much-needed minerals to aid in digestion and to boost your immune system. Not to mention, it tastes great. No need to search the galaxies. We're under a tree. SambaTree.com. All right. So you saw me running out there, running with the stars. Look at that. Look at that. Natural treat can be like searching the galaxy. Now, I'll tell you the story behind that. The story behind the story. I actually did that video because I was just playing around. I was literally playing around with this feature. I went to look. I said it to my children, and they started cracking up. They were laughing. They was like, "Dad, what the heck is this?" And I responded back. I said, "I don't know." But then I sat back. I was like, maybe I could use this for something. In this, I just say, hey, how can I fit it in, into doing like a commercial ad kind of thing? So that's what I came up with. But anyway, yeah, anyway, so that was funny. There's always a little story behind some of this stuff here we do. But anyway, let's get into it. What we're going to be talking about this evening, some of the things we're going to talk about. Okay, so as many of you have already been very aware of, oh, by the way, the website is SambaTree.com. As many of you are already aware, this week, one of the top things that has been talked about, people have been talking about this week, are the tunnels. Yes, the tunnels in Brooklyn, New York, where they found, now this is under the, how do you say it? Chabad headquarters. Let me see if I can find a video of that I can play for y'all real quick. If not, many of y'all have already seen it. I wasn't planning on even playing it, but I'll just tell you in the meantime. But basically, if you haven't seen it by now, it's been all over the internets. Did y'all see this? New York Post is always winning with their little titles here. And this one is no exception to this. Look at that, Subway. It said Shabbat. I say Shabbat. They say Hakban. I don't like doing that hawking stuff. I just say Shabbat. I'll just say that. The Shabbat boys sparked holy war by digging illegal tunnels under Brooklyn synagogue. Now, it's funny how they frame this. It's just under a little synagogue. No, it wasn't just a synagogue. No, this was the headquarters of Shabbat or Chabad. This is their headquarters. Just to give you an idea of who these people are, they basically have heavy influence. Have you ever seen like those pictures of, you may have seen these online too, where just about all the U.S. presidents or many of the U.S. presidents in the last, I don't know, decade or two, and they're standing with this group of rabbis. Yeah, that's Shabbat or Chabad. That's them. All right. So it ain't just any synagogue. And also Putin, same thing. If you've seen pictures of Putin, the people that you see him standing with a bunch of rabbis. Who are those rabbis? Same group. Their headquarters is in New York City. Their headquarters is this place here. This is their headquarters. And trying to find just a couple of things here. I was looking for the video, can't find it yet. I'm just, but many of y'all have already seen it. So, but I'll tell you as I'm kind of going through my thing here. Let me see if I can just had it up here. I had a couple of things here I wanted to share just on that thing here, on that news item here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This thing just kind of disappeared on me. Okay, was it this one? Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Let me pull this up here. All right, here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right, so just a little history on this here. So, I guess that's one of the rabbis here. Okay, so let me get to this one here. So this is just a tiny bit. This ain't even scratching the surface. Creator of Shabbat's famous menorah sexually abused girl lawsuit claims a survivor of alleged abuse of a 36-year-old woman living in Israel is trying to get possession of her abuser's brass menorah, normally displayed at 770 Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn. August 27th, 1991, ruling which JTA reviewed says that Picard admitted to one unspecified offense, but not another. The defendant admitted that he did things that are not to be done, the ruling says in Hebrew. On the other hand, he did not admit to all the heart of it, of the deception that he was accused of. And then it goes on. All right. So that's just this. When I tell you, this ain't even scratching the surface. It literally isn't. It literally is not even scratching the surface of this, of this stuff. I mean, we can go into the, going back to the Talmud. A lot of people like to point to the Talmud, but you also had the Torah. Nobody want to talk about, I'm talking about Black Hebrew, don't want to talk about that one. The age of Moses' wife. Oh, you remember when we touched on that one? Was it Moses' wife? I think it was. When we touched on that one. And I ain't going to get too far on that on this broadcast. But was it Moses' wife or was it Aaron? Someone correct me on that. Because it's been a minute. But we looked into that. We read the scripture. And it's, or Isaac. No. It was, someone help me out with that. I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, Rebecca. Yeah, it was, no. Someone help me with that. But yes, when you go, Isaac's wife, that's right. That's why I knew it was. I was like, Moses, Isaac's wife. That's right. Isaac's wife. Look that up because like I said, again, we ain't going to touch on that today. But the amount of people that was coming after me saying, you're reading this wrong. I had Black folks coming to me and saying, brother, you reading it wrong. What you have to understand is, and I am not lying and I am not making this up. They said to me, what you have to understand is that a 3-year-old matured a lot quicker back then than they did today. I'm not making this up. I'm trying to tell y'all, this was all playing out. And I literally said, I'm going to leave all of these comments up here so that people can see it for themselves. People were literally saying to me that it's okay, brother, because a 3-year-old used to, when they were younger back then, they matured at a much quicker rate back then than they do today. So that was okay for, someone to marry a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old or something like that. This is what they were saying. This is what was being, and this is what's being believed and embraced even to this day. And so it's this whole beliefs. Anyway, so let me move on here. I'm trying to find a video. If I can't find it, y'all, I'll just leave it on y'all to find it. How's that like the one thing I don't even have? I have it bookmarked somewhere. But basically, I'll tell you this. when they went into the tunnels, among the things they were finding in the tunnels, now get this, it wasn't, they were finding, of course, there was like a lot of dirt and just kind of stuff over there. But guess what they were finding amongst the, like I said, it's just very grimy. It's a tunnel, right? What you expect it to look. They were finding baby clothes all over the place in these tunnels. High chairs, like for children, babies in the tunnel. It's all on video. It literally is all on video. And this is what they were finding all down there. And it was very interesting to sit back and to listen to how mainstream media was trying to spin this, because I heard some people say, well, this was just young boys, young men, students who, it went from, they dug the tunnels because they were trying to, they were trying to get the synagogue during COVID. So they dug these tunnels so that they can get to synagogue. But like someone pointed out, they were like, people were not locked into their homes and, during COVID, even in New York, even though New York especially was very strict, but they weren't locking people in their homes. Now they were doing that in other countries, but they weren't doing that here. So they were literally, so that's what they said. That was one thing that came out. Then not too long after that, then they said, well, they dug the tunnels because they needed somewhere to pray. So you're going to dig a tunnel. You're going to dig a tunnel. You ain't got nowhere else to pray, but you got to dig a tunnel to do that. Okay. You're going to dig a tunnel because you need a place to pray. Now, what was happening, and then what came out was one of the ways that they kind of people start putting two and two together. Someone, I think it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, actually posted on social media. They said, hey, listen, I live in New York City and I'm on the first floor. There's no basement under me. But why is it that I'm hearing people speaking in Hebrew under my floor? Can you imagine that? You're in a home, a living space. There's no basement under you, but you just hear people down there just talking in another language. That would scare the heck out of me. And, they just be in New York. I guess people just kind of like whatever. But apparently they dug so much that it started creating instability in the building structures around there. And that's what prompted the city to come and investigate. And then, boy, oh boy, they found like, what the heck is going on down here? And they just found out a whole lot. Yeah, and y'all mentioned the mattress that had like, I don't know if that was blood or I don't know what the heck that was on that thing. But yeah, I say, and isn't this funny? These are the same people that want to raise hell about tunnels that Hamas is digging, but y'all making tunnels in New York City. I guess we supposed to overlook that one. I say we give those tunnels need the same treatment y'all get those Hamas tunnels. I mean, they don't be playing. They like, there's a tunnel under at a hospital. We gonna send a whole missile down there. But here, oh no, it's different. We'll just send some cement trucks and whatever. But it's just so anyway. But like I was alluding to in a community page about this, I said there's a whole history that when it comes to these people in these tunnels, it didn't just start here in Brooklyn. There's a whole connection that goes all the way back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And I can go through it in very fine detail, but I will not do it on this platform out of knowing that the people who control this platform will probably shut that down immediately. But I have their stuff, not mine. It's not some third party that's kind of guessing this stuff. I'm talking about books they wrote. I got them where it's documented on the things that you would do down below and all of that. It's all there. This is all history. So this ain't just something that just popped up. It's been around. And especially, and then like I mentioned about the children with the, clothes and baby clothes and stuff they finding all down there, that's part of their history, And so, like I mentioned in the post, I said we can really take the time and really explore that and just really look into that. And then also this week you saw, the Pope, recently came out with a declaration, saying that, hey, it's okay to bless homosexual couples now. It's okay to do it, And so one of his underlings or whatever that helped him to put together this this declaration, come to find out, he came out with a whole book, or several books, I think, and teachings on, it's like children's sexuality stuff. And one of it, he was talking about, it was a young girl, like a teenage or preteen, who's fantasizing about putting her mouth, and I'm not making this up, all over the body of Jesus. And it's very just disgusting stuff. But this same person, now, again, you go to them. I went to the Catholic News Agency and they reported it. I put the link up there. They reported it. They were calling out one of their own and saying, yeah, this is really something here. But he's one of the main people that the Pope leaned on to come out with this whole thing about, hey, it's okay for, people to, for us to bless, gay marriages and stuff like that. But we look at this as black folks here in America, numbers of our people. Someone said that you show videos during the CV lockdown of the folks ignoring the 6-foot rule. That tunnel excuse doesn't fly. Right, exactly. Anyway, what was I going to say? But anyway, we can talk about these individuals and, see, this is crazy. And I like this week, I've seen people who will look at that news and they'll say, see, and that's why we're the people, because they're doing that. And it's like, whoa, how did we jump to that? We're the real people because they found those What? What kind of logic is that? So they're doing something crazy. So that means, what are you talking about? What does that even mean? What am I talking about? Just follow along what I'm saying. Yes, a lie can't stay buried forever. Like it's some old saying, right? Sooner or later, lies, the truth will always find a way to the surface. It's always going to come out. But just because dirty deeds are being exposed in one group, it doesn't automatically verify the narrative that you crafted for yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? What you're saying is you're intrinsically intertwined with these people. I'm not. You want to be. Some of y'all want to be that. That's why I said, so you got the Pope on one hand. So you got Rome, right? Who gave us the Bible. Someone wrote this long comment, two long comments. Well, brother, you're wrong, because basically I said, listen, the Bible was given to us by Rome and by Greece. These are historical facts. You can't get around that one. These are historical facts. Both Rome and Greece gave us the Bible. They took part in putting together the Bible. And then in the midst of those two, you had the Jews, the Jewish people. They also played their role in that. And then, mix all that together. And that's what came about, the Bible itself. And so, so you got this group, and you know how perverted these people are, when you're talking about the Greeks and the Roman folks. So all of that is all intertwined in their book. It is. And so when you start reading about these different saints, quote unquote, saints of the church that took an active part in constructing the Bible and the things that they believed when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to how they viewed women, when it comes to how they view people that didn't look like them and all of that. When you take the time and actually study and investigate that on your own, but yet, and then once you do that, you still come to the conclusion that, but that's our book. Yeah, they beat us. Yeah, they raped us. Yeah, they did all this stuff. But see, what they did was they packaged it like a Rubik's Cube, and then they gave it to us. The answer is in there, but they just gave it like a Rubik's Cube and just gave it to, what kind of Think about this for a second. If I am trying to keep someone ignorant of who they are, why the heaven and the hell would I give you the answer in the first place? Why would I put it in a Rubik's Cube and give it to you? If I'm going to give it to you in a Rubik's Cube, that means at some point you're going to figure it out, don't it? Why would I give you a puzzle? Here's the truth now, but don't figure it out, because if you figure it out, you're going to get all the keys on how to destroy us. Doesn't it make more sense to just destroy the doggone thing and don't give it to you at all? If I had somebody that was a powerful, enemy, and I had them imprisoned, I'm not going to give them. That's like someone that's like if I had Superman in prison, a kryptonite prison, and I said, I'm going to give him this. It's a box and it has a shield. It has a pill in it that he can take. But see, he ain't going to know it's a pill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to confuse it and all that. I'm going to still give it to him. He'll never figure this out. He'll never figure this out. Why would I even do that? I ain't giving you nothing. You're going to stay my prisoner. Are you following me? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're not following. Maybe some people ain't following. I don't know. But why would I give that? You in my prison, I'm going to give you a gun, but you ain't going to know it. I'm going to give you some parts of it. I'm going to give you a part here. You'll get a half a bullet here. You'll get a handle another day. You'll get this, but you'll never figure it out because you're too dumb. Why would anybody do that? I'm not giving you anything. Bread and water. That's all you're getting. You ain't getting anything else. But in our minds somehow, many of our people believe that these people that have done all of this stuff to us, we believe that somehow in the deepest, darkest evil that makes these people who they are, they're somehow bound to give you the answer, the key to destroy them. That sounds like a cartoon to me. I don't know. That sounds like some kind of cartoon. You know how in cartoons sometimes the bad guy, they got the good guy kind of on lock, and and they're like, okay, well, now that I got you on lock, I'm going to tell you exactly what my plan is. See, my plan is to do this, and here's the blueprint right here, and see, but you'll never get it because I have the key around my neck. I always wear it, and when I go to bed, I always hang it next to my bed, but you'll never get it. That's how people think. You think in terms of cartoon. This ain't a cartoon. This is real life, and you're dealing with real people that hate you and don't like you and don't love you at all, period, to give you any kind of stuff. They'll season things with a little bit of truth because you'll eat it. They know how folk like salt and seasoning in their food. So they're going to season stuff with a little bit of truth. Just give you just enough to be addicted to it. But they're not going to give you everything. Of course they won't. Their goal is to get you in such a place where you're 100% dependent on them. Either way, you can call them devils, you can call them the Antichrist, you can call them fake and all of that. But at the end of the day, their goal is being met every day because you got folks out here that will fight to the death for the stuff that they've given us, the book that they've given us. They'll fight to the death for it. Ain't that something? And we don't think that. And like I said, I got people, they'll write a whole big long book trying to defend, and I'm like, bro, you just got to take the time and just read this stuff for yourself, And so it caused me a lot of times when I sit down trying to do a video or whatever, I sit back and I'm like, what's the point of even going through all these, videos where we take these deep dives and this, that, or whatever. And at the end of the day, people still saying, hey, shalom, brother, Mishpah Khan and all that. It's like, you just get the airplane emoji because it's just literally right over the head. So I'm like, what's even the point? You know what I'm saying? It really is like, sometimes you feel like that. But I think the point I'm trying to get at in this segment is this. See, we can really go in and talk about what these wicked people are doing when it comes to these tunnels and all that stuff. We could do full breakdowns and all of that. But here's what that illusion is keeping us from. That illusion is keeping us from talking about what are we doing with our children. We're worrying about what's going on in their tunnels. Honey, I'm concerned about the children that aren't in tunnels, but in front of our faces. You understand? Like this story here, for example. There's this story here as soon as I can find it, which is right here. Now, some of y'all may have seen this story or heard about it, but I'll put it right here on the screen for you. Did you guys hear about this story? This story here, female student beats up teacher in a hallway at a St. Louis high school after she refused to allow her to use an anti-seizure medicine, has seizures shortly after. Now, that's the headline, but once you dig into the actual story, it wasn't that. I'll just kind of tell you what was actually reported when you dig in there. It wasn't like, no, you can't have your medicine at all. No. What the story talks about is, I think the students had left the classroom. This young girl, she left her bag or something in the class. And so, it's in the rough side of town. So, which means the schools are going to reflect that. So, there's all kinds of stuff these children are doing and into and all that. So all the teachers are going to be on high alert with a lot of these children, what they're doing, the stuff that they're bringing into the classroom. Now, like I said, again, they ain't just black children. There's white children that do this kind of stuff. There's Hispanic children. There's all kind of children that's in this stuff. If you've ever taken the time and listened to a lot of these public school teachers, they'll tell you. Now, here you had this 65-year-old woman. So anyway, so this student tried to go back into the classroom to get her bag or something. This teacher, for whatever reason, refused because I guess she had some suspicions of what was in the bag or something like that. She was like, "Hold, wait a minute. What's going, But the student, she wasn't trying to hear that. She was like, "Give me my bag," and pushed the teacher. And then the next thing you know, the push turned into this girl jumping on top of this 65-year-old woman and beating the brakes off of her. Now, we'll play the video, but I ain't gonna, I ain't trying to get in any trouble. So the girl worked herself up so much. Next thing you know, she goes into a seizure. I ain't worrying about no tunnels. Tunnels are the last thing I should be talking about right now or being concerned about. That ain't my issue. I mean, these people are who they are, and they're going to continue to be who they are. I think I can actually, here's the story here. Actually, let me see. They want me to disable my ad block. I ain't doing that. Hold on, let me see. Hold on for a second. Give me just a moment here. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up here. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up another way. "65-year-old." Okay, let me see if I can pull it up. The news story. Okay, here's the news story.
Our top story, a shocking fight between a student and teacher caught on
Give me just some. I know it's not on here. I'm trying to. I'm not going to even show it.
Tonight, the 65-year-old teacher's loved one says something needs to be done. That fight unfolding earlier today in front of a crowd of students at Normandy High School. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, school leaders say they are working with police and conducting an investigation of their own. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon is learning more about what led to the violent confrontation.
I'm trying not to show the fight. All right.
Take a look at how a student drags a 65-year-old science teacher who's already on the ground. It appears the teacher tries to restrain the student as the student kicks and throws blows.
I'm not, like I said
It
again, we're not.
happened outside of a Normandy High School classroom Wednesday. The veteran teacher taken to the hospital shortly after.
Is she in pain? Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's banged up pretty bad. I'm at work and I get this video. She was circled up.
Greg Stanton says his significant other told police a student left class and eventually returned to get her book bag. When she told the student to wait, he says the student pushed past the teacher, grabbed her book bag, and attacked the teacher.
Well, where were the police? Where were the parapros?
In a statement, Normandy Schools said, "We have launched an internal investigation to gather all the necessary facts surrounding the incident, and appropriate actions will be taken based on findings of these investigations."
Teaching is one of the most difficult jobs in the world.
Education consultant Ian Buchanan is a former principal in Normandy Schools.
What does a teacher do? Let's say hypothetically a student swings at you. What's the ideal response?
There are a number of techniques that many teachers have been trained to use and execute. And so I think first is to resist that first reaction to response in a defensive way. I definitely wouldn't want it to be an eye for an eye, so to speak, or a tit for a tat. At the same time, just in case you didn't know, teachers are human beings. And so we can talk about all of this theory about what is supposed to happen, but when you're confronted with those situations, who knows what might happen?
Now, you and I both know, because like I said, again, we're going to talk straight up on this platform here. You and I both know, had this teacher been a white teacher, you know what the reaction would have been, wouldn't it? Don't you? I mean, we can name the YouTube channels that would have done a whole video on it. Well, family, you see, hey, listen, these people, they don't like us. They don't like us. You know, this is the world that we're in, and they're attacking our children. You know, they don't like, you know, and it just keeps on and on and on. But here you have that element ain't in there. And how many videos have you seen people really going in and talking about this? None, because it doesn't fit our narrative. It doesn't. Okay. Well, how about this other thing that came up? Let me see. Am I on the right thing here? Now, this is another thing. It's not necessarily news per se, but it's kind of supposed to be, you know, it's, oh, Dwayne, it's okay. It's just people just having fun. Okay. And I'm pulling it up right now. I hate when this thing does this. It's like you click on it and then it resets. Hold on. Every single time this thing does this. Literally every time. Like I'll have up when I want to show you, and then it just, okay, here it is. I'll click on it and then it just resets. Oh, how about this right here? So now we have classes taught by black women teaching black little girls on how to pole dance. Teaching black girls how to pole dance. Oh, there's more. You know, we can spend hours and hours just going in and how people that look like us are victimizing our children. You want to talk about tunnels? Okay, well, there's one other thing too I want to show you as well. This is a woman, her name is Sanya Muhammad, and she works in the foster care system. And she's going to talk about the stuff that she's seen, what they're doing to children in the foster care system. Okay, now mind you, when you look at the numbers, even though in the foster care system, it will show the majority of children that are in the foster care system are white because they make up the majority of the population. We're disproportionately, based on our numbers, at a higher rate of children. We have children, black children, that are in the foster care system. Now, when you break that down, sometimes you have the seizure of children that, you know, the state has no business in taking children away. You got to factor that in. But that's not every case. A lot of these cases, the children just, you know, unfortunately their parents just don't care. That's just facts. We can't talk around that. We can't dream of these people, we like to jump on, you know, when we would talk about, for example, all these children, young ladies that were supposedly, you remember this? Some of y'all remember this, that all these young ladies that were allegedly being kidnapped in the Washington, D.C. area. You remember everybody was making videos on this. What's going to happen? What are we going to do something about this? There needs to be more done about this. And, you know, this country is racist because they're underreporting. They're not reporting what's really happening. There's people going around and stealing our young women and all this other stuff. And you know what really happened on that? Because, see, let me inform you on that, because guess what? Once the truth came out, then nobody wanted to say anything. We do what we always do best. Soon as the truth comes out, everybody gets quiet and goes into their separate corners and look for something else to talk about. The truth of the matter was, it was two things. One, the city, talking about DC, they were in the middle of updating their database and putting everything on the internet, because all their information as far as missing persons wasn't on the internet. So they weren't in the process of uploading all of it on the internet. So it looked as if all of these things were happening all at the same time, but that wasn't the case. It was just that the police, you know, the local police were actually updating or uploading all of these notices, these missing notices on the internet all at the same time. And so for anybody that wasn't even paying attention, if you were not paying attention, it would appear that all of these people were being abducted all at the same time, and that wasn't the case at all. That was number one. But number two, the overwhelming majority of the young ladies that they were saying were missing, they weren't missing because someone was stealing them. You want to know why the majority of these young ladies were missing? Was because they were running away from their homes. Now, is there a percentage of young black children that are being abducted and pushed into, you know, some of these human trafficking stuff? Yes, absolutely. You can't mark that out. That's a huge thing. But you also, with that number, when you look at the whole totality of missing black children, you're going to have the abductions that take place where children are actually really being abducted, taken away from their homes. But the huge part of it are children that are running away from their homes. Now, the question is, why are you running away from the place that's supposed to be the safest place on earth for you? We don't want to have those kind of conversations. Why are these children running away from home? And to prove my point even further, y'all, you know the channel that I referred to a lot, I think it's called Atlanta Street Interviews. Every person that brother interviews, just about every person that he interviews are individuals, black individuals, that are the product or they ended there because they had to leave home. They said, I had to get out of there because I had a father he couldn't keep his hands off of me. I had an uncle, I had a mother that couldn't keep their hands off of me. There was all kinds of stuff that was going on, so I had to get up out of there. We don't want to talk about that. Instead, we'll talk about if there's a white element in there where a white person did something, then we'll jump on it. Then we'll say we got to do something on a national scale. There needs to be more done about this. And you want me to talk about tunnels? You want to investigate and try to triangulate? See, that's why I see the Most High, he's exposing them for who they are, because, you know, what's done in the dark is going to come out in the light, and he's exposing them. But he ain't exposing your black behind or what you are tolerating. You ain't being exposed either. What kind of mess is that? What kind of message is that? He's exposing them with tunnels, but he ain't exposing your black behind. We get a pass on that kind of stuff. Let's take a listen to this woman here. Like I said, she works in the foster care system, and she's going to give us a little bit of insight on what she has witnessed in the system.
I worked for Los Angeles County Office of Education, Foster Youth Services for 12 years. I became interested in working with foster children when I became acquainted with how, for many of them, not all of them, how dismal their their lives can be. And as I started going through the records, I saw devastating things. It was rare to see a child prescribed one drug. It was always at least 2 or 3 or sometimes 4. I would say that more than 75% of my caseload were on some type of drug. It is about restraining them. It is a chemical restraint. The main goal is to shut the child up and shut the child down. That's the goal. They would bring in busloads of children from the group homes. And the children would line up, go in, pick up their medication with the whatever staff is with them that day, and get back on the little bus and go back to their group homes. I've also seen staff gather up the children's binders, take the binders to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist write a diagnosis and prescribe medication, and they bring the file back to the home, and the psychiatrist never, ever even met the child. It was just fraud written all over everything. What's really unfortunate is that they're reaching farther back. And so now it can be a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old. And then my question would be to the caregiver, how can you say that a 2-year-old is bipolar? The explanation that I was given by a therapist was, well, we roll the ball and he didn't roll the ball back. Really? A 2-year-old. And therefore, you would, in good conscience, prescribe a drug for this child? And my position would be they don't have a mental disorder. They have regular human behavior that are going on where they are afraid, they are lonely, they are hurt, they are living in this big question mark in terms of what's going to happen to me. They're not mentally ill. Many times the children that I worked with would explain to me that they felt fine before taking the drug. And then when they were administered the drug, they would have these feelings of nervousness inside, uncontrollable shaking of the body, this feeling that's inside, they don't know what to do with it. And they can't calm it. And the response that we have for them is to give them another diagnosis and add on some more pills. This is a form of child abuse. This has to stop. We just can't continue on this road and do this to these children. And then as we find out that they're getting even younger, where some of them can't even talk, they have to have a voice. We don't have time to make nicey-nicey. A child's life is involved here. It has to be a law that says that this is a crime against children. It really is important for society actually to take a stand, to question the validity, the morality, the lawlessness of administering life-debilitating psychotropic drugs to children.
So this is what a lot of these children that are exposed in the that are within the foster care system, this is kind of what they're exposed to. You heard what she said. They just put them all on the bus, what she witnessed, and then take them down to a center or whatever, where each of them are given pretty much a whole handful of drugs, take them, put them back on the bus, and take them back to the group homes. And they just keep doing it round and round over and over again. And then she mentioned about the psychiatrists who basically don't even see these kids. They just see the folders and they're like, yeah, based on this, and that's it. And then the psychiatrists, in the meantime, they're collecting their checks. Meanwhile, they're signing off on more drugs being administered to these children. Many of these children are Black children. And you can, and if you think that just goes into a black hole, it doesn't. Many of the children, like you and I, at one point, we grow up and we become adults. What is this society going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, when many of these children are as they are aging out of the foster care system? They're being thrusted out into the world already drug addicted. Family, I submit to you that we're seeing a lot of that right now. All you got to do is go on social media and see the logic that many of these people are using just to on just some of the most basic things. It's like, oh, how did you even arrive at that? And some of these people have huge followings and stuff, but once you start digging in a little bit, you find that they were one of these children that aged out. And this is a beast system that many of our people are willingly feeding. You want to talk about how, oh, the fake ones or whatever, they're doing child sacrifice and they're, giving their children to Molech and all this other stuff. They snuck into Bohemian Grove, and let's talk about that. And, did you see this video, brother, about how they snuck in there? And Alex Jones, he had the video when they stuck in the Bohemian Grove and they were doing human sacrifices and all that. And what I'm saying to you, Negro, is that black folks, our people, have been sacrificing many of our children to the same God. We may not have the idol, but the government has taken that role and has taken that place. And unfortunately, there are many of us that don't want to talk about it. We don't. This is why, like I said, I really didn't want to do, and I said, it's hard for me to even do videos now because, see, this is where I am. You understand what I'm saying? This is exactly where I am. Someone may say, well, you beating up on black folks. No, I ain't beating up on nobody. I'm just giving you, this is truth. This is reality. This is non-matrix talk. This is what's beyond. Once you take those goggles off, this is what the world really looks like. And it's real. So, that's why I said, ain't no need in me talking about some tunnels and, with all these wicked people and what they're doing. And, the truth is coming out now. The truth has been out. You just been looking in the wrong place. It's just sad, ain't it? But it's very, very, very true. All right. Well, anyway, moving on. There is a video I would like to show you. This one is more on a happy tone, because we do have some great things that are happening. We have some wonderful families that are living their best life. And they're not all of us aren't in this, in this circular destructive loop or whatever. You got some wonderful black families out here that are doing some great things and all of that. And it's just one video I saw that I thought was really, really nice. And I'm just kind of scrolling down to get to it. And I was like, man, I need to do this. How many of y'all have heard of, doing I forgot what they call it, a dream board or something like that. Now I know somebody gonna say, oh, you better leave them things alone because, see, that's demonic and that has root and all. Okay, let me just put it to you this way. Making a list of goals of seeing where you would like to be by the end of the year. How about that? I'll put it that way. Okay. And so what this family did is that they did it in a very fun way. And I just had the video, and like always what this stupid thing does, as soon as I click on it, it resets, and then I have to scroll all the way back down to pull it back up again. So I'm scrolling down again, and I'll show you. I thought this was really, really nice. But I was like, man, I need to do that. Every week, once a week, I've been saying, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna do it. Still haven't done it, but I'm getting to it. It's my promise to myself. Let me see. Almost. Come on. Oh, here it is. Come on. Don't do that. Okay, here it is. It's only a minute long. Here we go. Right here. Okay, here we go. So check this out. I thought this was really neat. Ain't that something? You got the whole family together, and they got together and they did the vision boards and try to, this is where do you see yourself in the next year or so or whatever, that kind of thing. And I thought that was really neat. That was a big thing like a few years ago. People were doing that, getting together in vision board parties and, really kind of laying out your plan for the year instead of just rolling into 2024, but, just coming up with hey, where do you honestly see yourself in the next year, by the end of the year? And I know for me, one of my things is really, wanting to my family to see ourselves as our own bank, and really learning from taking the time and learning to from people who have been thinking this way and operating like this for numbers of years. And it's not in amassing more money and, coming up with schemes. It's none of that at all. It's what we already have. How can we take that and just keep generating that, over and over again, so that we don't need anybody and have our dollar actually work for us instead of us always having to work for it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of the mindset. That's one of the goals for me, at least, in thinking that way. And then also teaching our adult children now to carry that as well. And because, that's people have been thinking like this for a long time. We're just catching up to it and making course corrections in different areas and all of that. And have already been seeing great improvement. And I just want to have something in front of me where I'm just always, every day I wake up, I see myself as that. I see myself as that, And, but yeah, I thought that was really neat. And I thought that was really cool. But anyway, let's move right along here. A few more stories here. This week also, something else, while people were talking about all the other nonsense that was going on. We had Mr. Fauci. Mr. Fauci actually acknowledged something this week. And while everything else was being talked about and discussed, it was this right here. This is something that we've been addressing. Many of y'all who've been following us, who followed us through the whole CV nonsense. Here we go. COVID, 6 feet, social distancing, quote, sort of just appeared, unquote, likely lacks scientific basis, Fauci admits. Dr. Anthony Fauci confessed to lawmakers Tuesday that guidelines that keep 6 feet of separation to limit the spread of COVID-19 sort of just appeared without scientific input. Now, do you remember the amount of stories that came out where they said it was scientifically based and factual, it was tested and all of that? Do you remember the videos we showed where they were talking about in a controlled space, someone that sneezes, they showed the sneeze particles or whatever coming out of the nose and floating in the air. And they said, if you're within 6 feet of this, it can get up into your nostrils and all of that. And then you remember in our videos, what we're talking about is the key words is controlled space. Of course, if I'm in a lab that's everything is closed in, there's no ventilation or anything like that, and someone sneezes, of course, I have a greater chance of catching something, right? However, most people aren't going to be in a non-ventilated space. Most people would either be outside or they're in a large space, or maybe even in an office. Even if you're in an office or a room or whatever, you're going to have the windows open, you're going to have a door open or whatever. So that's just not scientifically based. And it wasn't just us just saying this. We were also pointing to studies that were already out there proving this not to be, what they were saying, what they were claiming. So we weren't just saying it. We were just giving you what's been in the medical industry for years. And we also pointed to the person that came up with this whole nonsense. And now you have the top doctor, Anthony Fauci, now confessing and saying it just sort of appeared and we just ran with it, basically. It was a little too late now, ain't it? Anyway, he said, let's see. It never struck me that 6 feet was particularly sensical in the context of mitigation. This is someone else saying this. Dr. Ashish Jha, the dean of the Brown University School of Public Health, who served the President Biden's COVID response coordinator for 15 months. He said, I wish the CDC would just come out and say it is not a major issue. You remember all of this? I'm glad they're showing all this. You remember all this stuff they were doing? Putting people in circles and all this other stuff. And then you remember going to the grocery store. There's still some grocery stores, depending on where you go, where they still on the floor, they have, like, if you're having to stand in line, they still have like the little spots on the ground. They say, make sure you stand on this line, stand on this spot here. And, you know, I felt like I was like, man, this is like grade school. And we were living in New Jersey at this time. And I remember how it was one day we were going to Trader Joe's, and in that Trader Joe's, I'm like, I'm like, just getting ready to walk in, right? And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, player. No, you got to get in line. Oh, you got to space out. You know, I'm sorry, we can't let anybody, we only let in like a handful of people in the store at a time and all this stuff. And I'm like looking at all this stuff. I'm like, are these people crazy? I was like looking at this stuff. And then, you know, people that I either knew or saw or whatever, you know, they were taking this like, oh, absolutely. You better double, you better quadruple, put a mask all up here on your eyes, on your head, on your ears, just put it all over. And there's people, and I'm sure many of y'all see it today. You go out, there's people still double, triple, and masking up. You know, and I've always said, I say, you don't have to ridicule these people. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I ain't gonna be like, no, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? But what we did was say, hey, listen, no, we can't talk about it on this platform because they were striking people down left and right for even dare mentioning any of this stuff. So that's where mybondtube.com came about, where we created our own platform where we can go into this and show you all the scientific data, the research and everything like that to show you otherwise. And that's what we did. And, you know, hopefully that, and I'm, you know, we've gotten many people, you know, that, you know, express gratefulness for that, you know, in terms of, you know, that we took the time to kind of really show all of that stuff because you had a lot of people who have family members who were really petrified with all of this stuff. And what he did was equip them with some information that they can take and say, hey, listen, you can look at this stuff for yourself. Now, you know, it's been a mixed bag as far as the success rate with that, because some family members were like, oh, okay, well, now, okay, I see it now. All right. But you had other family members that was like, no, I'm sorry. If the government says we got to do this, then we're going to have to keep doing it. And it's still like that. The government today, if the government said to tell people you need to save yourself, you're going to have to jump off a bridge. I'm going to tell you right now, there'll be a lot of our people that will do it. And that's what really bothers me. If I had to say if there's anything that keeps me up at night sometime, it's that. Knowing that this government can literally come up with anything. And after 400 plus years, there's a significant number of our people that will still do whatever Simon says. And that's really troubling. It really is. This week, well, today, matter of fact, my wife came to me and told me about someone that we know that passed away about our age. And the sad thing is, this is the wife. The husband, he passed away maybe like a couple of years ago. They were like 49, 50, young. The husband, he already had a condition, right? But, you know, both of them, I think, were really into the jab stuff. And, you know, when you took that, if you had any kind of pre-existing thing, it just, many cases, what we're seeing is exasperating it. So the husband, he dropped like that. And then she told me today, I was like, what? Like, that shook me for a moment. Because I was like, I didn't know she was sick. But what they leave behind now are 3 children. I think 3. Mm-hmm. One, I think, is in high school. I think the other 2, I think they're like college or whatever. And yeah, and you know, and there's stories coming out now where you have people they're saying they're trying to tie, well, if you leave the heat on in your house for too long, it can contribute to blood clots. Really? They're still trying to come up with all this stuff. And there was another story that I just read. They said that there's an increase of cancers amongst younger people. You know, I can't go into details on that, but take it for what you will. And so so for people who took this thing, all I got to say is it's still a tick, 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 tick. Sad, but but when I heard that, I was like, man, that really, it shocked me for a moment to see that. I was like, wow, really something. So, again, this is why we have to be a people that challenge things, and it's okay to do that. This week I was thinking about, was it this week or last week? I was talking about what this system has done as far as perverting this innate thing that we have as human beings to challenge stuff. When we're children, when we're babies, babies are always asking questions, always asking questions. And, babies, not babies, but, when they're able to talk, if they're a baby asking questions, then hey, that's a little something there. But anyway, but I'm saying when they're toddlers, I'll just say toddlers, are always asking questions. They're always investigating. It's just something that's innate in us, right? And it's not to be negative. You're not throwing shade or anything like that. Children just are trying to learn. They're always asking. But it's only when we start becoming adults now, that same thing that we have, that characteristic, it's still there. But now what's happened is the system has perverted it or soiled it to where now you can't even post a picture of you and your wife and your children unless people are looking at it like, look at her. She act like she's smiling. Why is she wearing this thing, that dress, and it's all tight? And he, and look at him, and he don't love her enough. And look at them children. And it seems like they could, and it's like people will just, you can't even post a nice picture on there. People just find something to tear it down. Some reason, somehow, to tear it down. I've seen things like that over, and I'm sure many of you have as well. Someone just posts something up there, and people be ripping it apart. Because what this system, this matrix has done is perverted that thing inside of us where we meticulously will look at things, and just so that, and we just have questions. That's it. But you pervert it. Now it's perverted to where now you just shade. And now it's just, you just tearing it down. So all of this shading and tearing people down, what that is a perversion of something that was already there. And that is that innate ability or the characteristic we have of being fine, looking at details. There's nothing wrong with looking at details, but it's when it's perverted, you go beyond just looking at details, but looking for things that you think are wrong or things that are offensive and all that other stuff. And religion has done it as well. Religion has taken that innate ability that we have to look at fine print, to analyze and to ask questions so that we can learn. And religion has said, shut up. This is what you're supposed to obey. You don't dare ask any questions about it. That's what religion has done that too. And the government and all these other systems as well. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get away from that and get back to a place where it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to investigate. And, the conclusions you come up with, if it disagrees with this person or that person, then so be it. Let them go their way. You go your way and just live your life. But be a person that asks questions and investigate, and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, let's continue on. We're almost finished here. We got, let's see, another thing here. Was this on Twitter or was this on, trying to see where this story was on. This is let me just show you this one and then, let me just kind of breeze through this real quick here. Really, this one, I'll just breeze through this one really, really quick. I'm not playing the video, don't care. But this guy here, Little Nas X, okay, we already know what he's about. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how a media manipulation works. Okay, I'm giving you another example of it. So look at the title of this. First of all, look at the source. Because I looked up this story. I saw it pop up on Twitter first, right? And then I said, well, let me go to the source. Let me look up what other news agencies are talking about, reporting this specific story. It was only this one, and it was like another one. So first I looked at the source. I've never heard of a U.S. Times post. Okay, so what mainstream media and also marketing, this is why I tell you the marketing world can be very dirty. These marketing agencies that work hand in hand a lot of times with either government agencies, with people that represent music, people in the music industry, or in business world or whatever. They come up with these these fake news platforms, and they'll float stories out there with the hopes that someone will jump on it and make it go viral. That's what happened with the whole thing with the couple in Colorado. Remember we talked about that, the black couple in Colorado, the ranchers, and we traced that story all the way back. I was like, how does this story go viral? And it started with some site nobody's even heard of, and then overnight it just went viral. Because you have a lot of these nefarious groups out here that create these fake news sites, and they'll fish it to different people with the hopes that it will go viral. Here's another example it's just the same thing. Never heard of this site, but anyway, look at the title. It says Black church pastors threaten to boycott Little Nas X disrespectful J. Christ song. Now, Lil Nas X, he's what he is, right? So we don't have to get in that. This guy is turned out and all this stuff, very perverted, all that kind of stuff. He actually, I think, partly grew up in the church. That's just kind of the backstory. But I saw a little bit of the video. Basically, he's like portraying himself to be Jesus Christ, but he's like a gay version of him or whatever. It's whatever, y'all. It's the world. What do you expect, right? So listen to the article. All right, it says, in media takeout, there you go, media takeout. That's a reliable source. And Media Takeout learned that black pastors across the country are working together to launch a boycott of Little Nas X and his record label, Columbia Records. Let's stop there for a second, family. Use your brain for a second. Why in the world would black churches boycott something that they shouldn't be listening to anyway? That's like, we as black churches, we're going to boycott porn stores. Okay, you shouldn't be going there in the first place, right? So that's what my thought was. So anyway, keep reading the article. It says, an Atlanta pastor who has a congregation of more than 300 members told Media Takeout that he has reached out to other black pastors and they are working to start a boycott of the over-the-top rapper in Little Nas. Although the video is shocking, it is also very popular on social media. At the time of the article, Media Takeout has confirmed that Little Nas X, J. Christ, has surpassed 1 billion views on YouTube in just a few hours. And then they go on and they give him they give his whole back. This thing is written literally like a PR statement. You want to know why? Because it is a PR statement, but they put it on this junk news site that's not even a real one. Notice that they don't mention the pastor's name. They say a pastor that has a congregation of more than 300 members in Atlanta. Name the church. I mean, how many churches fit in that in that right there? But you see what I'm trying to show you. This is what they do. So what they do is you push out your artist, right? And you push them on one end, and then you generate opposing view on the other side, hoping that the Christians will jump all on it. And now you're controlling both sides of the narrative. This is called guerrilla marketing. And this is a very type of marketing that's used especially in the music world and also with movies as well. There are certain movies that if they push a certain boundary on something, they will be on both sides of the narrative. They will push the movie on one side. On the other side, they'll get behind some of these ultra-right groups and they'll say, see, what are they putting in this movie or whatever? And then they'll be behind that as well. What I just showed you is exactly what they, this is no different. I'm literally reading this. I'm like, this is a PR statement. That's all it is. So, so if you see this and when you see stuff like this, family, just wave it off and keep it moving. It's a nothing burger. The world is being the world. And why, I know some people are going to be losing their minds over there. See, the world is evil. See, Babylon is falling. All of this. Don't even give your energy to that. Don't even give your energy to that. It's a nothing burger. The world is the world. And don't even give your energy to that. So I just wanted to go through that real quick and burst that bubble real quick. But anyway, let's one last story here. This is where is it? I guess I have to put it on the screen here. Hold on. I thought I had it on my I know where I have it, but I'll put it on because I ain't messing with that Twitter thing, man. That Twitter be tripping, man. Hold on for a second. Here we go. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this on the screen, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So, yeah, we had talked about, and one of the posts I did earlier this week, we talked about how this trend that I know I'm noticing on social media of, younger Black Americans, I'll just put it that way, in the West or whatever, making fun of, people in Africa or people in the Caribbean and saying that, nah, you guys walk barefoot, or you're trying to using cake soap to whiten your skin and all this other stuff. They're using a lot of these insults that I used to hear white children. That's the irony of it. Many of the insults that they're using against people in Africa or in the Caribbean, they're insults that I remember hearing from white children when I was growing up in my time. And so now that's like the new thing now amongst adults when they're trying to insult. I'm talking about Black folks when they're insulting Africans or trying to insult, the people in the Caribbean or whatever. And it's just like, man, you guys really sound like a bunch of children. And so one of the things they talk about, I've heard them crack on how the water quality or whatever. And then we did a video, this week where I talked about the water quality in some of the towns where there's a high percentage of Black folks. I briefly mentioned Jackson, Mississippi, but this just came up on my timeline and I checked to verify, is this recent? And apparently it is. And so here is a video that someone posted on TikTok. And this is what's going on down in Jackson, Mississippi. Black mayor, Black folks run that town, but this is what they're still dealing with in Jackson, Mississippi.
Close attention to my water. Jackson, Mississippi, the water department, Jackson Water. This is what's going on here now. And they want you to pay a bill of $600 and $700. Should nobody have to pay a bill when their water looks like this? This is so messed up. Please share this video. We need help down here in Jackson. Somebody needs to step in and take over this water crisis because this shit is out of control. Who wants to take a bath in some shit like this? This is bullshit.
This is Jackson, Mississippi. And so to the people out there that want to think that, when I hear these younger people act as if they actually came up with, they designed the water systems in this country or the sewage systems and stuff like that. And y'all ain't do jack. In reality, you're just benefiting off of the other people who built all of this stuff. And, for you to sit on your masses lap and be pointing the finger of accusation at some of these people in these poor countries as if you have a set a standard on something. It's just very embarrassing. And, to hear, and like I said, it's just, I never would thought I would live to see a day where I would see some of our people engaged in this kind of nonsense. And our hearts go out definitely to the people in Jackson. I am aware you do have a couple of water companies out down there. When I would say water companies, spring water, people who have spring water supply down there. There's one company in particular I was aware of, black owned, that's doing what they can, but they're not the water company. All they're doing is bottled water. And you guys remember when we interviewed Moses West? That's the gentleman that came out with the machine that that is pulling water out of the air. And you remember that? We interviewed him. Very, very nice gentleman. And he's been kind of going all over and doing this and still doing this stuff. Well, apparently since that time, I'm trying to find it and I just found it. Hold on. Well, apparently, since he's been out here on these streets doing that, and going to these different places and bringing his machine there and all of that, it's oddly strange that all of a sudden now we got other people out here coming out here with this stuff too. Check this out. I just saw this one today as well. Take a look at this one.
That I saw at CES this year creates water from air.
Oh.
How is this possible?
That's a great question. So right now we're making water from air here in the booth. Soon we'll have water pitchers out and you'll be able to taste pure drinking water. And so what we do is we take the humidity out of the water, we pump air into the machine, it gathers the water that's in the air. This has 50 gallons of tanks underneath it. So we fill up the tanks and then we start filling up everything from that. We do a lot with the government, but this is the very first day that it's been open to the consumer market. Oh, really? So you're catching it early on. This unit's designed to go next to a house and generate all the water you need for a house. It can replace a well, it can replace city water, and we make bigger units that can do even more. Well, if you can imagine two 55-gallon drums sitting here, they can refill those every day. Every day? Every day. If you go to genesissystems.com, you can look at our website and there's information there. A unit like this right now is $20,000.
Now, isn't that interesting? All of a sudden, that's not the only company. There was another company that came out with this as well recently. Now, did they steal the technology from him? I don't know. What I do, the whole process of extracting moisture out of the air is something that goes all the way back to Egypt, quite honestly. I mean, if you really want to go back there, it's something that's been around for many, many years. However, the timing of this thing, where now they're coming out with machines similar to what Moses West came out with, that's a little interesting. But it is what it is, family. So, the good thing, like I said again, is, we just, our people, we just got to, the solutions are there. We can create our own solutions to address a number of these issues that we talked about. But we also got to, one day I'm going to talk about something about frequency. I'm going to touch back on the whole teachings we did about frequency and vibration and all of that. But I'll just close out on this, is that one thing I realize is that every person represents their own unique frequency. I'm just going to say it at top level, and then one day we'll do a video and then we'll just go all into the details of what I'm talking about. But every person, when we look at creation, all of it is broken down: frequency, vibration, and light. Every person represents a unique frequency. Think of, when you look at a guitar, right? A guitar has a certain set of strings, right? Now, when you think of mankind in general, or just all of creation, be it trees, be it animals, be it fish or whatever, every living creature has its own unique frequency. You know how when you turning the dial on your radio or whatever, and you see like 98.2, 98.3, 98.4, whatever. Well, each individual represents a unique frequency. Those frequencies that we are designed to produce or to be get altered by environmental pollution. They get altered by the foods that we eat, lack of exercise, and to be at the optimum where you need to be, it requires for you to eat right, make sure you exercise and making sure you're getting your air, making sure you're immersing yourself in silence and all of that. Because by doing that, you're allowing your body to reset itself and get realigned so that you're perfectly in tune to your creator, right? And so what happens is, what we're seeing now is that we got a bunch of people out here who are out of tune. And because they're out of tune, you're trying to merge with other people who are out of tune. So the music that you're trying to produce, it's bad music. And we're trying to convince ourselves it sounds good. And it doesn't. It sounds horrible. Look at, you know how we talk about like hip hop music or rap music today? You notice how it just doesn't, it sounds crappy, don't it? But it resonates with a certain generation, right? But in reality, when you step back, it's like, man, this stuff sounds horrible. It's because the frequencies that we have, all of us have, they're getting more and more out of tune. And like I said, again, that can be attributed to another number of things. And so, like I said, one day we'll really get into that and talk about that, because this ain't just me talking. This is something scientifically proven. You know, each one of your organs in your body, your heart, your liver, your kidney, and all that, they all have, there's a frequency when they're healthy. There's a frequency when they're not healthy. So it's really deep, but it's really fascinating stuff. But the moral of what I'm trying to, the story reason why I wanted to share that is because stop trying to synchronize yourself with people who are out of tune. Okay, that's the moral of the story. Because too many of us think that just because someone looks like us, that's good enough. It's more than skin. It's really discernment. And a lot of our people, unfortunately, don't have the discernment. You just look at the skin and just want to run with this person, not realizing that this person is way out of tune and you need to stay away from them. You understand what I'm saying? So ask yourself, who are you looking to tune, to get yourself in tune? Who are you hanging with? Are you guys really in tune? Or is one of the strings that's around you kind of off a little bit, but you still trying to tune it up because there ain't no other strings around here? I might as well try to tune myself up to this person. Nah, you need to leave these people alone. You need to leave them alone. All right. So I'm going to leave you alone right now. We're going to end this broadcast. Family, thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.